What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Thursday night live stream, the Rogue Report. We're talking about screen printing. We're talking about embroidery. We're talking about all the good stuff when it comes to making merch. That's what we fucking do here. So anyway, welcome to the show. And let's get into cracking some questions off. So first off, we had our new video from last week, which was the first new video now that we're on this bi-weekly schedule. It was a long one. It was an hour, so it seems like a lot of people couldn't stick through that one. So I think we're going to start trying to make these things a little bit shorter, even though that video, like start to finish, I think is really, really good. But I think, time is an issue for some people, and I'm starting to understand that. So I think we're going to start cutting these things back to like 15 minutes or so. But anyway, we had this video here where we went over teaching Jordan, one of my newest employees, how to screen print. He had never screen printed before. When we shot this video, that was his first time loading shirts, unloading shirts, running the press, kind of learning how to register a job. There was a lot going on in this one, and he did good. Little guy did good. And this was a while back, so now he's running the press a hell of a lot more. He's getting better. He's learning how to register multicolored jobs. Ugh, don't want to see that girl in the background. Just all kinds of stuff going on here, but he's killing it. So anyway, we went over all the basics with him, taught him a lot of stuff. Obviously, we didn't go through the major basics because we were learning how to print on an auto, which is different from how most people learn. Most people learn how to print on a manual and then move up to an auto. But I mean, we are a auto shop at this point. We don't print with a manual, so teaching them to print with a manual is kind of useless, to be honest with you. So figured we would just teach him straight up on the auto, and that's all he knows so far. Maybe we'll put him on the manual after he's mastered the auto and see what kind of shit he can come up with. But anyway, super good video. And this arm wrestle, I absolutely fucking crushed him in both arms, by the way, and asserted my dominance as the head of the shop. And if you haven't watched that video yet, go and check that thing out because it's pretty damn good. I like that video a lot. So anyway, we see some familiar faces in here. We see 24 South Apparel. We see 456 Print Co. We got Jackson Ryan Creative. What is going on, everybody? I did not end up watching Twilight. I will never watch Twilight. Him in that stupid shirt. I swear to God, he like collects the dumbest shirts he can so he can wear them to work when we're filming stuff. Every video that we've shot for the past while, he's wearing something ridiculous, and you'll see. But it's pretty awesome. I planned on doing that when I had the DTG around. I was going to make a bunch of dumb shit, but I never got around to it. So anyway, we're going to answer some questions about screen printing, business, whatever you guys want. Start dumping them in the comments. I'm going to try and keep the stream a little bit shorter today. Try and keep it around like 30 to 40 minutes. Maybe I got to work out after this. And, last stream I went a little long and I worked out till like 11 p.m. afterwards and then didn't sleep and it sucked. So I'm going to try and get a little earlier tonight if possible. These workouts are killing me, by the way. I just got some new equipment today too. It's like I have an addiction. I think I do have an addiction, to be honest with you. So a few more things showed up. Now I'm just waiting on my ice bath to get here. That's like the last thing. I know the chiller and all the other stuff show up tomorrow, but the actual tub itself I'm not going to have for another couple weeks because that damn thing was on back order. Pissed. But anyway, all right, cool. We got some questions rolling in already. Good to see. Let's start banging these bad boys out. 24 South Apparel. When growing a screen printing business, what strategies have you found most effective for attracting larger corporate clients while still keeping the personal touch with the smaller local customers? That is a really, really damn good question, honestly. And it's a cool question to ask at this point in time because this is where we're kind of in that growth phase where we're kind of having to figure out which direction to go to make both happy because obviously we started off with smaller scale clients and we worked there for quite a while and now we're kind of building up more and more into these larger scale clients. And so we're having to figure out what's the best way to make both happy because I know with like the smaller scale stuff, like our core kind of look and values and all this stuff kind of identified with them. But at the same time, with the larger ones, we have to start backing that down a little bit and be a slightly more professional. Because, I mean, like, our website says, like, shit and fuck on it and all kinds of other stuff. So I think we're going to have to start, like, scaling that stuff back a little bit. but still keep like our edge and shit. Like we still got like, death metal logos and cool shit like that going on. That's never going to go away, but try and appeal a little bit more to a wider audience. And other than that, though, it just really comes down to your customer service level, to be honest with you. Your customer service level is absolutely everything. Your customers don't give a shit about how well you can print. And this is like the hardest lesson that I had to learn because that was all I cared about for such a long time. And I still like have to remind myself that I got to back that down because sometimes I'll get into the weeds and just really go above and beyond on some shit and waste a bunch of time. And I don't know. I'm my own worst enemy at times. What they care about most is, your customer service and how well you can serve them and how well you can solve a problem for them. That's what it comes down to, especially when it comes to the larger corporate clients, because they have larger problems and they have less patience to fix them. So if you're able to kind of offer them something that's easy, something that's kind of the one-stop shop solution, which is kind of why we built out what we built out here. That was always kind of my vision, to make it easier for these larger corporate clients, because they always have to go through like this guy for shirts or embroidery, or then this guy for stickers and this and this and this and whatever, and trying to be able to offer them at least a good chunk of what they need. They're more likely to work with us. And then, yeah, like I said, just customer service, man, that's the big one. If you can solve problems for them and make it easy. And then same thing with the smaller side. The smaller customers are a little bit less in the loop as to what's going on. So they don't always really have their shit together when it comes to making an order. They might be a first timer and don't know like what vector art is, and things like minimums and all this type of shit. So being able to kind of walk through with them, and like it gets a little tedious at times. I will admit it gets a little tedious, kind of holding their hand through stuff and whatever. But you have to be able to put your own ego and shit aside and realize that, there's a first time for everyone. And, even though you've done it a million times, they have not. And make it as easy as you can for them. Give them as much information as they can to help them out, and so on and so forth. So really, it just boils down to good-ass customer service. And that's where I'm trying to put myself now. We were just talking about it in the shop today. I think I'm going to bring on another person. So we're going to be up to like 5 or 6 employees so that I can get out of the shop more, because every time I'm out of the shop and I'm at my desk, we make sales like crazy, and we do better with customer service, because that's where I thrive. Even though I'm a good printer and good at all the stuff in the shop, I'm really good with the people, and that's why the business is growing the way it is. So I think getting me out of there a little more and at my desk is going to be good. So I think we're going to bring on another person here. I think I'm going to sit on it over the weekend and think about it, but I think my mind's already kind of made up that next week I'm going to put the word out and hire another person so that we can get better with this customer service. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I kind of went off there on a bunch of different little tangents, but it all kind of makes sense, I feel like. How's that going? Working out, has it helped? Sorry, I couldn't read for shit there for a second. Dude, it's helping immensely, I think. I'm noticing, obviously, like changes in my body and shit are happening. That's a given. It's been like a month now, and I'm starting to see like, things happening, muscles that are showing where they weren't before, and, fatness disappearing, and just overall my fitness improving. Yeah, but other than that, I'm mentally, I'm feeling better. That's the big one. That's the whole point of all this, right? Was the mental aspect. And I'm really starting to kind of ditch a little bit of the anxiety issues. Cause I mean, like if you watch the video, and I don't know how well I explained like what my issues were during that thing. Cause I mean, that was a hard video for you to make, but anxiety, general anxiety disorder, and like panic disorder and depression and all this stuff. These are the normal shit things for me. Like I've 4 things that I'm clinically diagnosed with. And, I notice like the day-to-day anxiety stuff, like usually I wake up like riddled with it, and I just have to get through the fucking day. And that's becoming less and less, I notice. Like I'm waking up a little bit better. I'm not dealing with stress as shittily as I used to. And it's just, I'm feeling like things are improving. The depression side, like that comes and goes. So that's always been kind of a wild card situation. But the general anxiety, that's kind of the one that fucks with me a lot. And it's kind of slowly dissipating, I feel like. So, and then panic stuff, I haven't really encountered yet. I mean, it comes and goes as well. That's kind of one that just creeps up on you when you least expect it and says like, hey, I'm here to fuck your day up. But I feel like having the anxiety and the stress under control a little bit more is going to make that lessen. a bit. And anyways, yeah, so that's what the working out is doing for me so far. And it's only going to keep improving, right? I'm still only a month in and still kind of getting used to it, still dealing with like the aches and pains and the soreness and a lot of the early stage stuff that makes it shitty where a lot of people quit. But I'm definitely noticing that I want to be in this basement working out every day. Like I'm kind of like excited for it. After dinner, I'm sitting there like, okay, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm getting down there, just kind of watching the clock go down. And yeah, so that's pretty sweet. It's definitely something I did not expect. So we'll see. Once a couple months go by, we'll see where we're at. I think it's going to be a long game thing. And I just got that red light yesterday. I got one of those infrared light panels, the red light therapy deals. So it's got red light and some sort of special wavelength red light shit. They're expensive as balls, by the way. I got like one of those big ass panels. It's like, yay tall. And it was like, I don't even know. It was like $1,700, something ridiculous. But dude, you can feel that thing. Like when you sit in front of it, it slams you with light, but you can like literally feel like, I don't know, some kind of like warm tingliness radiating through your body when you stand in front of it. It's kind of crazy. And it's supposed to have a bunch of benefits health-wise, obviously, but it's definitely, there's some stuff backing it up showing that it like improves cognitive function and eases mental health things like anxiety and depression, stuff like that. So hopefully we'll see some benefits from that as well. Now I'm going to be adding that into my daily regimen, and then we'll be adding the ice bath when it shows up, and then more as we go. So one little bite at a time, we'll get there. Oop, nope, I don't want to do that. So I almost kicked someone out of the chat by accident. I clicked the mouse in the wrong spot. I didn't get you though. You're safe. Oh, cool, man. Charlie Pangus, cool to see you here. I appreciate the support. Anyone hasn't checked out his channel before, you probably already know what it is. If not, go check it out. Lots of cool design stuff going on there and good shit, let me tell you. Anyways, cool to see you here, man. Thank you for showing some support. Pat Ranger. That is a awesome name, by the way. I am thinking of integrating embroidery in-house instead of outsourcing to maintain control over quality. Did you have any concerns before making the move? That's a super smart move. And honestly, it's more about maintaining your profit margins than it is quality. I mean, like quality, obviously, being able to be in control of that is huge because a lot of shops, especially contract embroidery shops, kind of just shit it out. You know what I mean? Like they have the work is okay, but it's not good. Lots of jump stitches and things going on so that they can speed up production and whatever else. And that you can make embroidery look a lot better if you take a little bit more time in it. So that part was a no-brainer for me, being able to bring all that in-house, but your profitability is absolutely massive on embroidery. So bringing that in-house you're going to improve your shop's profit margin by a pretty large amount. I will say that. If you're able to if you're already kind of doing steady business with embroidery, you're not going to notice the payment of the machine coming out. I'll tell you that. Because I bought a very expensive machine. Obviously, my machine is a 6-figure machine, and I don't even notice the payments coming out on that thing. Like it's crazy how much money that thing makes every month. It's been running nonstop, and we actually just discussed it today. Like, I'm hoping to be moving into a new shop next year and building something from the ground up, but I don't even think we have enough time for that. I think we have to build a small addition onto my shop just so we can stick another 6 head in there because it's so busy now that like it can't keep up. Right now, Brad is he's slammed with work. Like he just knocked out this week. He did 800 hats, and I just booked him for another fucking like 800 today, something like that, and a few other crazy ass jobs. Like one of them's like a 200 piece, 18,000 stitch count deal or 16,000, whatever it is. So that's going to be a long one for him. That one alone will probably take a week, but yeah, we need to be able to have 2 jobs running at the same time, I think, at this point. So anyway, embroidery is huge, man. If you can do good embroidery, it will pay you back very, very quickly. Like my machine paid for itself so fast. It's ridiculous. Like obviously I didn't throw that money on the machine. I'm letting the payments run its course so that I can take that money and put it elsewhere in the shop and spread it around and grow, like hiring more employees or buying more equipment, whatever. And it's the smart way to go to maintain on that lease. But yeah, dude, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. But one thing I will say is invest in a quality machine. That's the best piece of advice I can give you when it comes to embroidery, because I have used subpar machines. Like a lot of people want to try and save money on these machines because, like, let's be honest, they're expensive as shit. A single head or a 6 head, whatever it is, like some of them, the name brand ones like a Baradan or a Tajima, they cost a lot of money. It's insane what they cost. Especially when you start comparing things like Melcos and Rakomas and shit like that. But I mean, the cost is absolutely worth it compared to the headaches that the other ones bring. I will say that much. They're not worth the savings. I've never met a single person that said it's worth it after using, a top name brand machine. So once I got the Tajima, it literally changed my entire outlook on embroidery, top to bottom. And I will never use another machine now. And like, they don't pay me to say that. I've fucking bought my machine. So, yeah, definitely invest in a good machine if you can. So it is worth it, and it will pay for itself very quickly. Cool. Look at this. We got some success stories here. Bryn just successfully exposed and washed out my first screen of my own art like 10 minutes ago. So ecstatic. Your channel has been a huge help in the whole process. Thank you. Well, that's fucking awesome. Thank you for watching the videos for starters. And I'm super glad to hear that, you're getting stuff out of them and it's helping you progress down the journey of screen printing, man. That's amazing. And yeah, I don't know if there's any specific videos I can point you to, like the one with the little exposure calculator, little 21-step test. If you haven't watched that yet, go watch that. Go buy one of those if you do not have one. It's the best $20 you'll ever spend. And yeah, just taking the time to expose screens, man. Doing screens is a lot more important and very overlooked. Then that's probably one of the more overlooked things in the shop. Just not having proper screen exposure, proper EOM, proper this, proper that. But that's stuff down the road. If you're just learning, get the screens exposed, start learning how to print some shirts. That's fucking sweet. And then start getting into the weeds of how to like perfect each step of the process. Because once you start perfecting each step of the process, that's when you can do some really amazing things. But yeah, make sure you go check out that video if you have not already, because that one will help you tremendously. Ever consider making a full-blown video package, kind of like a Udemy style thing, teaching everything from color separations, emulsion, coding, all the way down to printing? It would help a ton. Yeah, I want to do that really, really badly. It's a matter of time for me. I would love to make some kind of class course, whatever you want to call it, of running screen printing from like start to finish for a beginner or something like that. So to kind of give you all the grassroots stuff, all the basics, all the building blocks to kind of get you printing shirts and doing it right at least, and help speed up the process a lot, and then maybe make something more advanced to add on to that down the road. So something I really want to do. It's just a matter of building out the time to do it, man, and trying to like, I've kind of been working on it off and on for the last couple of years, just, keeping notes of like, here's all the different things broken down and how I'd film them or what I would talk about and whatever. So I do have like kind of a layout already. It's just a matter of getting this stuff all together. And I'd want it, obviously, you guys know what I'm about. I want it to be like some top tier, top level shit if I do it. So that's another thing. But yeah, we got to get into that at some point. So I'm hoping I can make that happen. Maybe this year, maybe not. I would hope so. This is, we're stepping into busy season in the shop. All of a sudden, business is picking up like really, really crazy. We kind of had a slow, August and semi-slow July. I feel like that's kind of the same for a lot of people. It's just kind of people are doing shit in the summertime. They're not getting stuff made a lot, and they're out having fun doing things. But now September, October roll around, and that's when stuff really picks up, especially October, November. It seems like for our shop, at least, like November is ridiculous because everyone wants things before Christmas, right? So that's when we get absolutely slammed. Like I think in November last year, it was obviously our best sales month, but I think it was like 2 or 3 times higher than every other month throughout the year. Like it was substantial. And just from what's been happening over the last week or so, it's looking like that's going to happen again. So I got to get ready. I got to get another person in here, as I said. There we go. Since we're just talking about embroidery stuff, is it worth financing embroidery equipment if you're a new shop? I mean, yes, if you can handle the overhead, absolutely, because it's going to help you expand your client base a little bit, cast a little bit of a wider net. And as I was talking about earlier on the show, being able to offer a little bit more to kind of give your customers just an easier time dealing with things, so they don't have to get their embroidery somewhere else, or you don't have to go get it somewhere else. You don't have to like deal with a contractor or something like that, right? So it's definitely worth it if you can handle the overhead. It depends on how new of a shop you are and how much business you're running through. If you're finding you're getting a lot of requests for embroidery, like I used to before I got a machine, like we got asked on a daily basis, and me telling them no all the time was was painful, and I lost a lot of business and a lot of potential big clients because of it. Thankfully, we've gained some of them back now that we can offer embroidery, but there's some that just, they're just gone. So, but yeah, as soon as we started offering embroidery, I noticed it was a huge jump in business, huge jump. And I think at this point now, like embroidery is starting to get neck and neck with screen printing when it comes to which is the biggest earner in the shop. It was kind of creeping up a while ago. It's kind of more of like I would say like 70-30 split, then it turned to like a 60-40 split. Now it's almost getting 50-50. It seems to be growing pretty significantly, and which is great. So I like that because embroidery has a larger profit margin than screen printing does, at least the way that I have my pricing and structuring set up in my shop. It definitely has a much higher profit margin because there's so much less work involved, and you only need one guy in there versus like 2 or 3 compared to screen printing, and a lot less setup time, a lot less bullshit, and consumables too. Consumables, there's none. There's thread, and that's it. And thread costs nothing, and it goes a really long way. So it'll be interesting to see over the next year if embroidery takes the top spot. Very, very interested. It seems to fluctuate a lot, which is cool. But like this week, today and yesterday, I sold a shit ton of screen printing jobs too. So it's weird. Anyway, wear a print. What is up, sir? Just left the Printing United show in Vegas. Have you ever attended shows like this? No, I have not. If you watch that whole mental health video, you'll know why. But I would love to one day. I know that Printing United show is probably one of the better ones. I know like that one and the ISS Long Beach are kind of the two heavy hitters. If I were to choose, even though I've never been to one of them, I'd probably pick the Vegas one just because of where it is. But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of cool shit going on there. I was kind of in and out of Instagram all day today, seeing all the different things being posted and shown around there. It looks like there's some pretty cool shit. And it's a lot of new shit too, a lot of technology being shown. And we'll maybe get into that on one of the future shows because I know some of it is being shown by Exile Technologies, one of our sponsors on the channel. They got a couple cool new pieces of equipment, and I want to have a closer look at those things. But yeah, it looks like a good time. And I know a ton of people there too. I'm getting a bunch of text messages and pictures and things like that, and annoying the crap out of me, making me wish I was there. What CRM software do you currently use? What are your pros and cons of it? We use Shopbox for our shop. So I'm using YoPrint for my shop. There's a link in the description with a discount code and all that. You get like 10% off for the entire year of your first year of your subscription. It's awesome so far. I really like it. I've tried a few of the others, especially for me because I'm Canadian, right? So YoPrint's the only one that has full functionality in Canada. None of the other ones do, including the big ones, which is absolutely absurd of them. But yeah, YoPrint's got full functionality here, and they seem to just be growing more and more and more and adding more features, adding more functions, and they're very receptive to criticism and requests for features, things like that. Like they've helped me build some custom things for mine, which is very cool. They've taken a lot of my suggestions for things to add. They've definitely fixed a lot of bugs that I've found, and it's been great working with them. So it's been good. I mean, none of them are perfect. I would say like when it comes to quoting and invoicing, all that stuff, the YoPrint platform is incredible. When it comes to shop management, we're kind of finding a lot of redundancies and some things in there that make it a little bit annoying to use, but like I said, none of them are perfect. They all have a bunch of shit going on. I've tried all of them, and some of them really annoyed me. To the point where I was like, I'm not even gonna look at this thing ever again. But yeah, it's been pretty good. We're sitting down, me and Brad today. We were kind of working out how we can use that better to our advantage when it comes to managing the shop and trying to find like our own way to use it so that we can create some systems and things like that so that the guys in the shop are a little bit more self-sufficient and don't need my direction as much. So they know what jobs are to do and like where files are at and all that type of stuff. So we're going to have to like kind of create a workflow from scratch, which is going to still heavily depend on me feeding everything in there. But as long as I can do that, because I can do that from anywhere, right? I can do that from, my phone on the toilet if I want to. So yeah, as long as I can do that, then they can keep working and keep doing stuff in there. So we're working out something. We and him are going to spend some time on there. Jordan's not as computer savvy as Brad is. Brad's pretty sharp when it comes to that shit. So I'm using him as a test pilot for it and teach him everything first. But anyway, YoPrint, check it out. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. there's a lot of agreeing with some of the things I said in here. Comments. I'm trying to find another question. So this one I don't really understand. How much can you achieve with a max of 6 screens on sim process? Like, do you mean number of colors, things like that? Is that what you're referencing? I feel like that's what you're referencing. I mean, it's going to come down to the separator, really. You can definitely achieve a lot, especially when there's like colors in a design. So let's say there's like multiple shades of red. You can kind of get away with one red in there and just using different amounts of half toning in the base, things like that, or using raw fabric under the red, things like that to create darker, lighter tones. Things like that. You can definitely get away with a lot with 6 colors, and obviously too, you can do some color blending and stuff like that, and pull off some pretty amazing stuff. I mean, we've done some pretty cool ones with 8 colors that look like they're far more than that. And there have been times, though, I can say that, like, well, I wish we had more. We did some shirts for some strippers a while ago, and it was the skin tones on there. Like, with doing skin tones properly, like really, really well, you almost need like 6 to 8 colors just for the skin tones alone. And we obviously didn't have that because the design obviously had a background and all this other stuff going on. So we had to somehow, make things work with what we had, and we got it pretty good. They looked really nice and whatever, but like we didn't really hit the skin tones super nice, and they were like, we look a little pale, like, we're more tan than that. And I was like, I know, it is what it is. There's limitations here. So we did the best we could. We got close though, and like I was happy with them, but pictures of girls, what they're like with those things. They're very, very particular, and I get it. So I would say, yeah, but with 6 colors on an average job, like, band shirts, stuff like that, like you can do a lot with 6 colors for sure. So I saw this question pop up in the last video, and I just haven't answered it yet. I haven't had time to answer a lot of the comments for the past little while. When doing your registration, is there a reason why you don't place your palette under the screen to help see the registration marks? We don't even bother looking at the registration marks through the screen because it's pointless, especially on an auto, because you have something called stencil drag. So the screen actually moves as you're printing a little bit, right? So when you line up perfectly to the marks as you're looking through it, it's going to be off no matter what you do. So we don't even bother with that. We have our 3-point registration system because we got the CTS and the registration palette. So we just lock in to that stuff, throw down our registration tape, print over top of it, have a look at where it's at, and adjust from there. So we just print over it, pull the palette to the side, see where we need to move, adjust, and so on, and just keep repeating that until we got it dialed in. So it kind of saves a little bit of time because, like, yeah, we used to do that. I used to do that until I figured that out. That was just like I was wasting a ton of time looking through the screen, lining up to the marks and all that shit, and then I'd go print something and it's not even close. So I just stopped doing that altogether, and we register extremely fast now between all the stuff we got going on. Some of the jobs register ridiculously quick. I remember we did I forget one of the first ones we did when we got the CTS. We did an 8 color in like 9 minutes or something crazy. We got lucky on that one though. There have been some still where it's like, 30-minute struggle, but it is what it is. Sometimes it happens. Here's one. How do you handle customer provided garments? We don't, period. We do not accept customer provided garments. Only if we have one exception, and that is if it's something that we absolutely cannot get. That's the only thing. Or if it's like we took it 1 or 2 times where it was like someone who could potentially be a big client, and they brought some stuff in. Like for instance, we had a company we work with. They had some like soccer jerseys or something they needed printed, and like some other print shop had them for fucking weeks and didn't do it, and they were all mad. And they're like, "Man, we need these things like printed. And we need them printed now." And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, bring them in. And we'll get it done. So we did, and sure enough, it turned into a big-ass client, so that was smart. But otherwise, yeah, we don't take anything unless it's something that like we just absolutely cannot get because it's not worth the headache. It just really isn't. They think they're saving money by bringing the garments in, and they're not, because like when you're a print shop, right, you're making your money on the garments too, so like why give that up? So if customer was going to bring us customer-provided garments, we would just mark our print prices up to make up for the deficit of what we were losing. So really, they're not losing, or they're not saving anything. And that's what I used to do when I used to accept them. But then you have to deal with the headache of like if there's a misprint, or if they find a shirt with a hole in it, or some other kind of shit like that, right? And then you got to explain to them like, no, that's on you. You brought these garments here. And then they're like, they fucking argue with you sometimes. Sometimes you get those Karens that just want to argue till the end of time, and you got to deal with it. And so it's a waste. So we just put a hard rule of like no more customer provided stuff. I'll make special exceptions when I feel like it for certain things. Other than that, no, not happening. And like we lost a big sale recently because I had to stand my ground. I was just like, hey man, not happening. It was like it was like a $15,000 or $20,000 sale, and they're just like, because they had access to this garment themselves, and they're like, why does it cost so much money? And I was like, well, because I gotta make money here. I have people to feed, and a lot of stuff going on. And so then they're like, well, yeah, give us a better price. We'll provide the garments and then see what the price is. And I was like, all right, cool. So I just showed them the same thing. I was like, I marked up the print cost to what it was, and with the same deficit they were losing. And they're like, well, it doesn't even make a difference on there. And I was like, exactly, because I need to make this amount of money. So anyway, yeah, I just had to prove a point. I knew I wasn't going to do it anyways, but I kind of wanted to prove that point on them. And yeah, anyway, customer provided garments, not worth the headache. The only time it's worth it is if you're doing contract ship between another shop, which we do that, obviously. So I guess we do take customer provided stuff. Technically, we'll put some air quotes on that because it's not a customer, right? It's another shop you're dealing with. So we do some contract stuff, and that's the only time. And obviously with the contract work, the arrangement is already there. It's already well known that if there's like shirts with holes or there's any misprints or any bullshit going on, that is not on us. That's your thing to deal with. So the contract stuff we're pretty picky with anyways. I only take on a couple at a time, rarely. And it's only people I really like, and like, no, I don't take it from anybody. But we might branch out into that a little bit more in the future. We will see. Don't knock the toilet. I've made some great progress in there. I mean, yeah, I've made some big sales on the shitter. I'm not going to lie. Sent a lot of emails, done a lot of stuff. It's pretty awesome. There we go. How many colors can your auto do at the same time? So my auto is a 10 color machine, but we don't use it as a 10 color machine because we have accessories on there. We got spots for flashes. We have Stampinator or roller, depending on what we're using at the time. So really we use it as an 8. We've used it as a 9 before, but you have to have a flash in there. So that 10th head is basically a waste no matter what. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. But I would say it's an 8 color about 99.9% of the time. And it's enough for most things, but when we start getting into some of this crazy sim process stuff, I do wish I had more at times, that's for sure. So my next press will be pretty big. It'll probably be like a 16 or an 18 even, just so I know I have enough no matter what comes in the door, I am set. And also just have like all that extra room for cool down stations and things like that. And obviously it's a bigger press, bigger diameter, so you can kind of get away with doing jobs in 1 rotation versus 2 sometimes on this press. Because some of those jobs that come through here on my press, like we have to do in 2 or sometimes even 3 rotations to get them done right. So the bigger press you have, the less likelihood of that to happen. So yeah, we'll get a bigger one in here at some point when we get the space. And then we can make some shit happen a little bit faster. Oh, there's one. Did you ever get rid of the 636? No, I haven't. I still have that piece of shit. It's just kind of rotting away, sitting there in my shipping container. But yeah, I still got it. Still sitting there because I refuse to let it go because those 0304 636s are so hard to find, at least where I am. And they're hard to find for as good of a price as I got that thing for. That's for sure. If you do find one, people want like absurd amounts of money for these old ass bikes. Like, it's a 20-year-old bike and they still want fucking $7,000-$8,000 for it. They're out of their mind. And, I got that thing for cheap. I got it for like $2,000, so I'm never going to let it go. It cost me nothing to sit there. There we go. So 456 Print Go. I know you're killing it right now. So busy that I'm dealing with customers all day, every day, and back to printing all night, every night, scared to back out of production. In that case, would you hire for customer service or for production? Personally, I would hire for the job that you don't want to do. That's what makes the most sense. So that's how I started anyways. That's how I started hiring people. I started hiring for like reclaim. I started hiring for, catching on the dryer, all that type of stuff. All the little jobs that just I have no business doing. That's where we started. And then I started hiring more to replace me in the other areas kind of things for the printing and the embroidery and stuff like that. That's where we're hiring now. But yeah, start off with hiring for the jobs that you don't want to do or the jobs that like are easy and trainable and just something that the owner has no business putting their hands on. That's what you should hire for first. So to me, that's production. That's reclaim. That's, job setup stuff. That's counting shirts in. That's catching on the dryer. All that type of shit. That's what you put an employee on. And then that frees you up to kind of do a little bit more when it comes to the customer service side of things, because they can kind of get jobs prepped up and ready to go, because they'll be reclaiming screens, coating screens. You can have them learning how to set up the press and count the shirts in, all that type of stuff. Like that's the biggest part when it comes to running a print job, right? Is all the prep shit that goes into it. And then it's just registering the job, printing it, getting it done. So at least if you can eliminate most of that and then just do the, registering and printing and step away again, that's a lot. So that's what I would do if I were you. And I think I've seen you, like, you've had some employees in and out of there. I don't know if they've been like permanent people or not, or if they've just kind of been, friends floating in and out of there, or what the deal is. But I've seen you've had some people in there helping in the shop. So I would definitely invest in that first, because I think, like, when it comes to customer service and sales, at least when you're in a stage like we are, kind of like we're still a small business, right? A lot of the people you're dealing with want to talk to the owner. They feel some kind of a special connection, some kind of special treatment when talking to the owner, I guess you could say. They feel just an extra level of comfort and whatever else, right? So yeah, that's why I'm kind of putting myself more in that position, because I'm noticing that, and I'm noticing just it's easier for me to sell them on stuff because I know shit better. I've been doing this forever. I know all the shirts. I printed on all the shirts, and all that kind of thing. So that's why I want to be the sales guy and the marketing guy and that shit from now on, at least until I can train someone to take that over. And once I'm able to train enough people to keep this place running, I don't have to be here. And I can just leave anytime I want to. I can go play video games if I want to, or I can go do whatever. That is the main goal, right? Is to be a business owner and not be an employee of your business. That's the whole point. And I think that's what, like, a lot of business owners forget, is that, like, the whole point of owning a business is that you can own it. And most aren't. Most are employees of it. Like, I'm an employee of my business. I'm not a fucking owner at this point. I'm still very hands-on with a lot of stuff. And you're not a true business owner until you can kind of walk away from it anytime you want to and not have anything crumble. That's when you're a real business owner, in my opinion, anyways. But who listens to me anyway? Fuck, I said I was going to keep this one short, and we're at 50 minutes already. Damn it. Let's knock this one out real fast. Is there a book you recommend a shop owner reading, especially one who wants to run a lean shop? Yes. Read the book called Traction. And it's a book that I still haven't even fucking finished yet. I've been having a hard time getting time to read this shit now, especially since I've been adding all this other stuff in my schedule. But that one I've gotten pretty deep into, and even just, I think I'm about halfway through, and even halfway through, I've gained so much insight on how to be a better business owner and how to create systems and things like that. Because when it comes to lean, like, lean is it's systems is really what it comes down to. It's just creating really good systems and creating them in a way that makes it so that there are minimal steps involved, minimal wastes involved. That's really the aspect of lean. So, but what Traction teaches is just how to create systems in general. So it kind of will get you the basic knowledge. And then once you learn a little bit more about lean, you'll know, like, oh shit, this is what this is about. Now I can just take these systems and fucking tweak them down to the bare minimum and apply them. Yeah. So that'd be the book I recommend right now. Here's a good question. I like this one. How big do you want your business? Like, amount of employees, revenue, etc. When is too much for you? I love that question, because that's something that this is something that, like, I don't even know how you would put it. It's kind of like a manifestation thing, right? I was kind of reading and watching some videos on, like, that old dude, Bob Proctor, and stuff. Like, he was ahead of his time talking about manifestation and stuff like that. And, I mean, like, all of that shit to me was just like, I'd just be shaking my head before. But now I'm starting to kind of, like, some of these teachings and aspects of it, I'm starting to, like, click with to a certain degree. And one thing I really gravitated towards was something that I forget where it came from, but they were talking about, like, writing down a list of, like, what your dream scenario would be, whether it's your life, your business, whatever, and, like, get specific with it. Like you said, with the business, how big do you want it to be? How many employees do you want to have? How much revenue do you want to make? How much equipment do you want to have? What kind of clients do you want to have? Like, all this type of stuff, like, really, like, putting specific targets on shit. And I I recently just had been starting to do this I made one for my personal life and one for my business life. And I'm kind of just really narrowing this shit down as tight as I can and like making a point to revisit it every once in a while. Like every couple of days, I'll open up that thing and just like remind myself like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what the goal is. This is what I'm fucking shooting for here. And, it helps. I swear to God, it helps. Cause like for some reason, since I've been doing this, like our sales numbers are just, they're cranking up, and I'm starting to feel more motivated and stuff like that. Like motivation comes and goes, right? It's discipline that will get you to the finish line. But like when you feel that extra burst of motivation, you can do a lot of stuff. And I'm starting to kind of feel that happen. But when it comes down to like your question, like how big you want it to be, like I want it to be as big as it fucking can be. I want to be, in terms of like this side of the border in Canada, I want to be like one of the juggernauts in the country. I want to be one of the big shops with shit tons of machinery going on and like mega output, because I think we can do it. It's just a matter of obviously putting in the time, putting in the years, creating the systems, and just getting those clients one by one, growing, letting that snowball roll downhill and pick up, every year. So I've got some pretty specific targets though. I've kind of broken them down even more specifically, going by like a year by year basis, almost be like, for 1 year, this is what I want my goal to be. 5 years is where I want to be. 10 years is where I want to be. So I've kind of set some pretty high bars for myself, especially when it came to like the 5-year mark from today. And we'll see what happens though. I would say by the end of next year, like I would want to be at least at probably like 10 to 12 employees, something like that. And probably around like double the revenue where we're at now. I think that's very much possible because last year we did really well. It seems like every year our revenue grows by about like 50 to 100%. Like it's been fucking crazy since I started this thing. It's just a matter of, driving this thing forward and how hard I push this thing. So if I can keep that rolling, I think it's going to slowly start tapering off. Obviously, as the bigger you get, you're not going to keep doubling those numbers and getting these gigantic gains. But right now we're still in that phase. So I want to ride that out as hard as I can and just keep it going, see what we can do. I don't think there's going to be a point where it's too much though. I think by the time it gets so big, there's going to be so many things in place, so many systems, so many people that it becomes almost impossible to fail at that point, or like at least from an owner standpoint, like you literally can fucking disappear and no one would even notice you're not there. So that would be pretty incredible. And we'll see what happens. But where we're at now, we're at 5 employees, well, including myself, so like 4 employees plus me. And yeah, we're going to add a 6th year right away. And then I think hitting that number of 10 by next year is not really a stretch. That's going to be happening faster. And I didn't think I'd be at 6 already. And we're already needing it. So we'll see what happens. Look at that. I'm up to 3 employees and I can use a couple of part-timers. That's awesome. Yeah. Sweet seeing that growth. Like last year, I just hired my first employee last year. Now we're at 6 people, are going to be at 6 people after I bring on another one here right away. So it's kind of crazy how fast it happens. I had a hard time with the first one, like a really hard time bringing someone on and letting go of certain things. And just like, I was so nervous and, it was such a big risk. It felt like, cause now I'm responsible for somebody else. And it's like another big financial responsibility too at the same time. And it was just so much. Now I don't even care. It's just like, I see it. I see the need for it. I pull the trigger on it and it keeps going. And every time we've added equipment or added people or whatever in the past, like couple of years, it just seems to work. It's like you're worried about the bank account every time you do it. And all of a sudden it's just like, you don't even notice that you added something because nothing changed. All of a sudden it's like this extra output, this extra help is like the money's just staying the same or going up. So now it's just, I don't even care. I'm just banging this stuff out, taking the risk without even thinking. Do you find YouTube has really helped grow your revenue, or is it too difficult to tell? No, actually. Well, now at this point, no. I would say like where we've been at for the last 2-ish years, it's helped a little bit. But like when I very first started, YouTube was like 100% of my revenue when it came to the print shop. That's what brought in all the clients because that's where everybody was finding me, right? And it was like that for the first few years. And then once I was able to get into this new building that I'm in now, because for the first few years I was in my basement and I wasn't really advertising. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't really trying to promote the fact that I was doing what I was doing down there, at least on a local level. just because I didn't want people coming and going from my house every day, because what I was doing down there was not allowed. And I was doing it anyways. And so, yeah, I didn't want to have, that traffic and just that extra heat on me. So I just kind of stuck to online orders, and that all came from YouTube for a long time and Instagram. And then once I moved here, I started really kind of like spreading the word locally as much as I could. And we started getting these local jobs here and there. And it was like, I would say it was still 80%, 90% YouTube and like 10% local at that point when I first opened the doors here in this facility. And then the shift happened so fast that it completely flopped like to 90% local and like 10, 20% YouTube. It was nuts how much it changed. And it's cool though, because we still get a lot of very big clients, it seems like, from YouTube. They're still finding me that way. Like, we don't get as many. We used to get a lot of like really small shit from YouTube, but we get a lot of really big ones from YouTube. Like, we just had one this past week, and we're talking, it was a big one, like a 5-figure first order. And that was strictly from YouTube, because they're like, we saw what you're like. We saw how you care about the quality. We saw how you treat your brand and how you treat other people's brands. That's the kind of person that we want to work with. And they came to us, and they're a big company, man. So that worked out pretty well in our favor, and we get more of those than not. So, I mean, adding things, and it's funny you brought that up too, and we're talking about it, because that was the video we kind of shot this week, was something to do with that. We kind of talked about different avenues that we bring in clients to the business. So that was one of them. And yeah, YouTube has definitely helped a lot, because it puts a lot of extra eyes on you. It puts a lot of extra SEO on you, and it gives people an inside look into like who you are, what you can do, what your business is about, all that type of stuff. And not a lot of shops have that. And it definitely helps. I'll say that much, because every customer we've dealt with that have come through that channel have come through solely because they liked what I'm about and what my shop is about versus what we can do. So very cool. So yeah, I would say definitely look into that as a thing, like YouTube or making reels or TikToks or whatever. Like, if like video content does very well. The one thing with YouTube though is it's the second largest search engine in the world, owned by the first. So no matter what you Google, when it comes to screen printing, embroidery, whatever, like, there's a good chance you're going to see my face somehow. You're going to see a video pop up of mine, and that's the power in it. So, and same thing with like the other people that are doing it. I know for a fact they're doing a lot of their business off of YouTube and stuff like that. So SEO is powerful, and that's the one thing the other stuff does not have, is like Instagram and TikTok and shit like that don't really have SEO. They're kind of isolated platforms where everything just lives within there, and you really got to look for it. And it's not like that with YouTube. Stuff finds people when it needs to. Anyway, so that was actually a pretty solid question to end on. I'm going to cut it off here because we were at an hour. God damn it, I got to work out. And we don't have a video teaser today because we're on this bi-weekly schedule. So we will be back again next week with our teaser, and of course another live stream where we answer a bunch of these awesome questions. This one was super fun. Thank you guys for joining in and all your questions, and we'll see you again next week. See you later.